my world originally was the world of the DOT, Board of Contract Appeals, which I was brought to by Judge Stern and Judge Fennessy. So we have gone back such a long, long time. It's really something special. Everyone was afraid when we brought these worlds together that there would be chaos and controversy and plumaging and killings and all that stuff. And it actually turned out to work out very well. We came to beautiful offices. We've become close friends. And it's hard to say goodbye to any of the people who've retired recently, but particularly to Judge Stern, who is our longest serving judge after, I won't mention her name. Wait.
You.
Judge Gilmore?
Oh, no. Yeah, don't mention me.
I won't mention you. So the ceremony is laid out in your program. First, we'll have Judge Daniels, who is the chair of the board, make some comments. Then Judge Stern will make some comments as well, and then we'll make the presentations. And once we do that, then we will be able to continue the celebration a little bit more spread out into the conference room. Meanwhile, Judge Daniels.
We're really learning how to do these celebrations as we keep doing more and more of them. This is going to be the first one at which people in the back can actually hear what we have to say up from the front. I hope you can hear me. Oh, I see people nodding yes, so that's good. Microphone, great invention. As Jerry said, we're gathered here this afternoon to celebrate Jim Stern's career with the federal government. I maybe could have known Jim for longer than anyone in this room, outside of his family, since we both spent the summer of 1968 at ROTC, Army ROTC Advanced Camp at Indian Town Gap Military Reservation in Pennsylvania. Not long thereafter, we spent 90 days training to be Army Signal Corps officers at Fort Gordon, Georgia. But somehow, we missed connections in Indian Town Gap. We were at Fort Gordon a few months apart, so I didn't really have the pleasure of making his acquaintance until we were both judges on boards of contract appeals. Jim grew up in Albany, New York. He graduated from Siena College with a BS degree, from Adelphi University with an MBA, and from New York Law School with a JD. Despite that thoroughly New York background, he's been a Washington guy for more than 40 years now. Jim began his legal career with the Office of General Counsel in the Department of Navy in 1974. He served there until 1981 as the Deputy Assistant General Counsel for Acquisition during his last 3 years. Jim was then appointed to the Department of Transportation Board of Contract Appeals in 1981. He became one of the very youngest people ever honored to be made a BCA judge. He became vice chairman of the board in 1997 and its chairman on the retirement of his good friend Thad Ware, whom we're lucky to have here today, in 2003. All of us at the civilian board are very fortunate that Jim came here when this tribunal was established in 2007. In all those years, none of his decisions has ever been reversed on appeal. Jim has now been serving the citizens of the United States for 46 years, first as an Army officer, then as a Navy lawyer, and finally for more than 33 years as a board judge. That's a really impressive record. Although Jim has been a dedicated public servant for all those years, he's also been living a very full life outside the office. Jim's a great family man, and we're very pleased to have his entire nuclear family, his wife Karen, and their 3 sons, David, Michael, and Jeffrey, all here with us today. And he has some very special interests, which he'll have more time to enjoy once he retires. As you know, Jim is a car guy, and in particular, a Corvette guy. When he moves to Philadelphia later this year, he will not only be able to visit more readily his grandchildren who live in the area. There were 8 the last time I looked, but at the rate his family multiplies, there might be a few more by now.
You better ask these guys. We're still at 8.
Okay. He'll also have a lot more time and space to work on cars. Most people downsize when they retire. Well, that's not for Jim. He'll be moving to a bigger house with a 5-car garage, so he can have room for both of his Corvettes and whatever other cars might come his way. Jim is also a big baseball guy. He and I have spent many happy hours at the board discussing baseball, in between case analysis, of course. And I'm really going to miss those conversations. Jim doesn't exactly fit in with my image of Phillies fans, you know, loud, rude, generally obnoxious. But I'm sure he'll see some games in his new adopted city. Getting to Orioles games might be a bit more difficult, but I know that Jim will be glued to his trusty MLB.com, so he won't miss anything important that comes along. And of course, Jim is a runner. He's been running for the past 40 years, plus, I'm sure, many miles before breakfast back at Indiantown Gap. I know he'll be running for many more years as well. And he'll be repairing appliances, mowing the lawn, and trimming the bushes at his new home, as he's always done in Virginia. Jim, you've made great contributions to the field of government contract law over the many years, and you've also been a great colleague and a great friend to everyone at the Civilian Board. We're proud to know you, and we're certain that after you retire, whenever that might be, you'll continue to enjoy a happy, contributing life.
Definitely this year, Steve.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
I want to thank you all for coming here today to celebrate my retirement. I want to thank you all for coming here today to celebrate my retirement and for helping me make this journey. Everyone here in some way has helped me get to where I am. I just want to take a few minutes to recognize some people who really contributed to my success. First of all, the staff that put this function together. I know Jerry Summers worked very hard. Judge Summers worked very hard. Darlene Peebles helped along the way with getting out the invitations and other matters like that. Greg Parks, our general counsel, has carried a good deal of the burden here, and I know part of the success of this function is because of Greg. Greg is just a real gentleman. Judge Marion Sullivan, who is somewhere here, Judge Sullivan came to the board fairly recently and has been a great addition. She has taken care of all the food, I believe, function for today, and I'm sure it looked pretty good when I came through there before. So thank you for that. Anyone else who I missed who took part in putting together this affair, I want to thank. Judge Daniels, thank you so much for getting us this fantastic facility for starters, and for making this the special place that it is. It's, as you know, difficult for me to leave. Well, I've got to blame you if there's any further delay in this retirement. Judge Daniels keeps an open door policy. I feel comfortable at any time, and he never acts as though you're interrupting him, even if he is in the middle of something else. And we have some great discussions on cases, and of course on sports. And I thank you for that. Jerry, Judge Summers, sorry.
No.
It's difficult. I consider you a close personal friend. Judge Summers attended David, Michael, and Jeffrey's, not necessarily in that order, weddings, I think, right, all three. I guess we've known each other since 2002. And I appreciate all the discussions we've had, family discussions. I follow closely Judge Summers' daughter as she grew up from, I don't know, it wasn't kindergarten, but now she's off to college. And I'm going to greatly miss that. Hopefully the Senate will soon confirm Judge Summers to her new position as a judge over at the Court of Federal Claims. She's been nominated by the President and awaiting confirmation. I don't know if I wasn't supposed to say. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the great understanding of my lifelong companion, my wife, Karen. She's helped me along the way here, never complained about any of my weird habits, and always is supportive. And of course, my three sons who mean so much to me, they're here, David, Michael, and Jeff. I'd like everyone to meet them because I think you'll see what fine people they are. I also want to say a little extra special something about Judge Virgilio. He has been my neighbor. His chambers are next to mine here, and he and I have frequent conversations. He's helped me a great deal with his incredible knowledge of the law, and I've just enjoyed talking with him daily. Thank you also to all the other judges on the board. We've got a great relationship with all the judges. At any point, we can walk into another judge's office and discuss a case and run facts or whatever is by them, unless they've participated in an ADR proceeding, that is. And so that's how we can reach, we consider to be very well-reasoned and unappealable, for the most part, decisions. My legal staff assistant, Sharon, thank you for all you've done. I believe I'm the only one on the board that handwrites all his decisions in full. And Sharon has had to decipher them, and thank you for that. With all my inserts and different language that I use and arrows, she's able to do that. Thank you to all the other staff associates, staff assistants, also legal staff assistants. Jean Ward, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Jean. Cheryl Hilton. Our clerk is a wonderful person, and her smile will brighten up anyone's day. We have with us today a few other judges I want to just recognize. Judge Thaddeus Ware, who I worked with for over 20 years. He's in the audience somewhere there. And he was the chairman over at the DOT Board of Contract Appeals when I first came, well, shortly after I first came on board, and then for a while I was the vice chairman under Thad. Thad and I had a very close friendship. We were in each other's offices talking about cases and other sundry matters every day, and we would go for 3-mile walks at lunch, I think, every single day. Yeah. Judge Bob Robertari is out there somewhere. He and I still remain close friends. He was the vice chairman when I first came over, shortly after I first came over to the DOT board. Bob is a electrical and mechanical guru, so he can depend on my calls when I need some additional consultation in those areas, such as repairing refrigerators, washing machines, dishwashers, wiring basements. We've done it all. Judge Howery, always from the Agriculture Board, is here with us today. He remains a close personal friend. And Ed and I started together over at Navy General Counsel's office in 1974. And we've known each other well since. And we still get together for lunch and maintain a very close friendship. Some other judges, I just want to recognize Judge Brockstein's here from the Postal Board. I met him when he was an attorney over at DOT, practiced before me. Now he's a judge over at the Postal Board. Judge Ponser's with him today. He just reminded me that he tried his first case before me, and he was appreciative that I was pretty nice to him. In spite of some of his objections at the time. Judge Gilmore, if it wasn't for Judge Gilmore, who I knew for many years, I wouldn't have that wonderful office I had, because she had a little bit of seniority on me when we came over here, and the senior judge got that wonderful office that I have. I would have been stuck in the next office, and Judge Gilmore said she didn't want it when I went over and talked to her before we moved here. I came back to Eileen, Judge Fennessy, who unfortunately isn't with us. And Judge Gilmore said, I said to Eileen that Pearl Gilmore just told me she didn't want that office. And we just couldn't figure it out, but thank you. We know why now.
After the many calls from you, after the many calls from you.
And the last judge that's here with us today from outside is Judge McCann. Tony, it was a pleasure to work with you. I miss our political discussions, and the people in the gym miss our political discussions. But I think they're happy that we don't have them anymore down there, because we were a little bit rowdy at times. But and Tony is in a state of mourning after last night's Capitals game, but we won't go there. One of the other guys from the gym sent me a message. You have to see. You know who I'm talking about. He's a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Thank you to all the former law clerks that are here. I think there's about 10 of you. And my other personal friends, David and Jim. You know how much you mean to me. Thanks for coming. I started my career in 1974 with the Navy General Counsel's office. Our class of lawyers at that time produced about 10 different judges on the Armed Services Board and the GSA Board, and a number of partners in law firms, many of whom are here today. So we were a very successful group of individuals. When appointed as a judge in 1981, I didn't know how long I would remain in that role. After a few years, I realized that this would be my career choice. Though we're not the Supreme Court, I came to appreciate the impact of our decisions on the community in general. I think I've left my mark with many precedential decisions. The first one, which my first law clerk, Scott Arnold, is sitting back there, who's now over at Aiken Gump.
Dixie Shapiro.
Oh, Dixie Shapiro, I'm sorry. There's a few other people from here. Dixie Shapiro. We had to decide a motion for summary judgment on General Dynamics, and we found that the FAA had breached the contract, became very controversial for failure to make progress payments at the same time that FAA was demanding performance from General Dynamics. Scott helped me enormously in that case. So we started with that. We had a lot of other great decisions over there. We had a good laugh with some of the Explo decisions. There were 15 different ones of those. That was demolition of the bridge, the caissons under the Bayonne Bridge. And the trial went on for about 8 weeks. Again, there was 15 separate decisions on it. One of them, the contractor claimed damages for stepping in horse manure, and he held the government responsible because they said the project manager from the government had put their horse manure there outside of his trailer. We denied the claim. It could go on. I've had so many fascinating cases. I've been very lucky. I learned much about so many different things, from different types of concrete that you can produce to bridge and road construction to building construction. As a judge, you become an expert in all these subjects because the experts are telling you how all these things are done. It was a very fulfilling career. I will miss the challenges, my colleagues, and the contract community in general. It's time to move on and to try my dispute resolution methods with my 8 grandkids. From what I can see, they need it sometimes. My last official day keeps moving a little, but it's dependent upon my house construction, so I know that Jerry and Steve are very understanding about that. It won't be much longer. So when I retire, I hope to continue my work doing arbitrations and mediations. I hope we can remain in contact. I'm moving to Philadelphia, but I'll be back and forth between DC and Philadelphia. And that's all. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, and I know that Judge Sturm would want to recognize the judges from the Armed Services Board who came as well. His card got flipped around, so I'm sure that he just missed that.
Oh,
But
I
there
had several.
Yeah, you had multiple, so they're all there.
Judge Rome, Scott, I'm very sorry. You were on that list.
That's all right, I'm both of them people.
Now we wanted to provide Judge Sturm with his gifts of recognition. So I think the one that will mean the most is the one I'll give to you first, which is, we got the flag, and it says, this is to certify that the accompanying flag that was flown over the United States Capitol in honor of James L. Stern in recognition of his retirement after more than 42 years of government service. This flag was flown at the request of the Honorable Mark R. Warner, United States Senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia. So this is the flag in its case. We also have for you the Certificate of Appreciation from the Civilian Board of Contract Appeals, signed by Judge Daniels. These are all dated for the date of this ceremony, not necessarily reflective of the date of the And of course, my favorite thing, having come from the Department of Justice, in the Department of Justice, we always have a seal that everyone signs. So we started that tradition here. So not everyone's had a chance to sign it yet, but since we have, some time, we'll be doing it now. So it's this is not taking
I'm going to
yet.
stay until everyone signs it.
Right.
I've got to talk with someone who hasn't signed it. We'll
So,
make an arrangement.
There we have. So thank you very much. We should probably stand with one of the gifts and shake hands, because that's what you always do
Okay.
for the official picture, right? So let me have. Judge Daniels, you probably should come up to do the official picture. You want to stand up here? Or, okay,
Well,
we'll do
Jim,
it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. So now is the time for us to go back to the conference area where we have sandwiches, chips, cake, drinks, champagne, everything. So just head on back there and enjoy, and you can,